Hi, I'm Bill Rambo. Welcome. I'm founding partner with What's Next for Financial Advisors here at ASR Studios today to host a conversation on philanthropy and legacy. And I'm joined today by two leaders in the area, Michael J. Fisher, President and CEO of Client First Financial, Erika Petrozelli, CEO of the Lehigh Valley Community Foundation. Welcome to both of you.
Thanks for having us, Bill.
Thank you.
Great to be here today with you. Let's learn a little bit about your organizations. Michael, why don't you go first? Tell us about Client First. What's your mission?
Client First Financial has been around since 2011. I've been in the financial services field since 1988. And during that time, my practice has evolved from like needs-based selling to gradually getting into retirement planning. And now my focus is more and more on legacy planning. So we have a very needs-based focused practice. Our clients come from all parts of the Lehigh Valley and further. And so as we've gotten older, we've learned to just kind of transition with our clients to be more focused on how do you want your legacy to be and how do you want to pass on what you've accumulated over the years to whoever you feel most makes the most impact to your life and to your families.
Great. And I'm excited to get deeper into the concept of legacy and philanthropy. So, Erika, the Lehigh Valley Community Foundation does tons of good throughout the Lehigh Valley and beyond. Tell us about the organization and its mission.
Sure. Well, thank you again for having me here. The Lehigh Valley Community Foundation has been here in our region since 1967. And over the decades, as you noted, we've worked with a number of individuals and families and corporations to make charitable giving easy, local, impactful, while allowing charitable giving to be a legacy. And that's how we fit into this conversation. We've also evolved in the last few years to say, what's that impact beyond the check? So what does it mean for us to be more involved in social issues in our community and allowing staff to have a seat at the table to make change? And then how does that influence the impact that individuals who work with us, the impact that they're having in the community?
Great. So let's dive more deeply into this concept of legacy. Michael, couple quick questions. I'll hit you with all of them and then we'll come back to them. What is a legacy? How are they developed? Who has a legacy? And what are some of the beneficiaries of a legacy?
A lot of times when a person hears the word legacy, they think it's for the wealthy or more affluent. But actually, we all have a legacy. It's how we are known and how we present ourselves to those around us. And a couple of examples. It's not always about money. It could be that person who's been a coach at the local high school football program for the last 40 years. Or somebody who's given a lot of time, money, and effort at a local animal shelter or local theater group. So when it comes to who has a legacy, well, whether intentional or not, we all do. Because it's, how do you present yourself to those around you and to the community? So, it's a lot more than just giving money. Everyone does have a legacy. Like I said, whether it's intentional or not, we have it. So it's just something that a lot of times as we get older, something happens in our lives, whether it's something tragic or something very meaningful or powerful that makes us start thinking differently than what we did say 20, 30 years ago. And the other thing about a legacy, it can change because everything can change. Our situations can change over the years. So it's okay to have your legacy change with you as time goes by.
And who or what are some of the beneficiaries?
Based on what a person is feeling strongly towards, it could be family, it could be organizations, it could be causes, or it could be a combination of the above. Really, it's what caused that person to think this way, that they really wanted to make sure that those that they cared about, whether it's family, friends, or the community, how are they going to leave a legacy behind? How do they want to be remembered towards these other parts of their lives?
Erika, who works through or benefits from the work of the foundation?
Yeah, that's a good question. We work with a lot of different individuals. As Mike said, legacy is not just for the ultra wealthy. At the Community Foundation, we try to democratize philanthropy and allow everyone to be a philanthropist and allow charitable giving to be a legacy. So we work with individuals that are giving away a couple hundred, a couple $1,000s to individuals who are giving away a couple million. So it's a very, very wide range there. And oftentimes we're working with families and their advisors. So it is having a seat at the table among other trusted advisors to work with a family on charitable giving, among other aspects, and creating that legacy that they want to have. A really interesting quote I heard, 3 in 10 people don't remember all the names of their grandparents. It jumps to 9 in 10 don't remember all the names of their great-grandparents. So how do you want to keep your name alive and create that legacy so that your family is talking about you and hearing those stories for generations? And we think charitable giving can be part of that legacy.
But not just family, the communities
Yes,
remember
that's
people
very
for
true.
generations.
I mean, think about General Trexler, of the Trexler Trust. I mean, we see his name around now. Of course, there's parks and preserved land, and that's all philanthropy. And we still are talking about him because of that endowment that he left.
So how does the foundation assist those who are looking to be philanthropic?
So we create a way for those donors to be able to give to the community. So we create that vehicle under our umbrella, and we also provide that support and that guidance for them so they don't have to do all of the administrative work. We can write the checks, we can make sure that the IRS documents are filed, so individuals can do the fun stuff, right? Giving away the money. And then we also can provide that local connection, that local support. So if you're really interested in food access or housing or youth programs, we have a pulse in the community. We have people here that know which organizations are doing the good work, and we can share that information with you.
Great. So let's talk legacy and philanthropy. Mike, you have evolved your practice over the last couple of years as your clientele has evolved, has aged, basically. And you've spent time creating a legacy planning process that's different from the typical financial planning process.
When we talk about legacy planning, the first thing that I have noticed in all my years in the financial services business, the media and even my peers, they always focus on solutions. Well, and solutions are fine, but what we like to do is take 2 steps back. First thing that we want to do is identify what are your principal values and beliefs. What is most important to you? And then once we identify those, we can then put together a plan. And the plan should be in alignment with those principal values and beliefs. And then once we have those 2 in place, then we can start talking about the solutions, whether that's through legal documents, products to be used, or how you're going to go about disposing of those products. But that's where a lot of people, even if they do these first 3 steps, that's where they stop. The final part of the puzzle, and Erika alluded to this just a minute ago, we circle back and we do the family meeting. The family meeting is not is the person whose legacy is trying to be planned out, but they put their key stakeholders and family members there. All the key people that should know, here's what I'm trying to do, here's what I'd like to see happen, and by having that family meeting, everyone knows their role, everyone knows where things are supposed to go, and most importantly, your wishes are being fulfilled. Because if you don't do the family meeting, then nobody really will understand, well, maybe dad or mom wanted to give to this program. Well, really, mom and dad didn't like that program. They wanted to give to this organization or to this family member for a particular reason. So that's really where legacy planning is different than, say, estate planning.
I was going to ask about that. There's a difference.
Well, the estate planning is more of the solutions page.
And the technical stuff.
And the technical stuff. The family meeting and those principal values and beliefs, those are the 2, let's call them the bookends, that really put everything else together.
So in 40 years of working as a financial advisor with financial advisors, now as a coach, I don't hear a lot of people holding family meetings. What's the danger or the problem if those wishes aren't communicated fully to all those key stakeholders you mentioned? Could include you or representatives of the Community Foundation.
Well, first thing it's going to do, and unfortunately you see this all the time, it'll break a family apart. because, you know, they thought somebody was miscommunicating. They thought, well, I thought I was supposed to be getting this, or I was supposed to be filling this role. And then some of those charitable organizations or causes all of a sudden just go unfulfilled. So a lot can break down, and you see it all the time. And I've talked to others in our professions, attorneys, accountants, even realtors. Like, it's amazing how not having that family meeting and communicating it properly can really cause your whole estate and your whole legacy plan just to go down the drain.
Many advisors that I work with or talk to will say, well, mom and dad or grandmom and granddad don't want the kids or the grandkids to know what they have. How do we handle that within the context of a family meeting?
That's changing. I feel it's changing because, you know, 2 generations ago, that was it. Now, keep everyone quiet. We don't want anyone to know our business. Well, then the generation that inherited that realized, I don't want to see that happen to my family or my situation. So it's slowly but surely changing, but it still hasn't gone far enough. Yeah, many times I hear people say, well, I have the notebook. It's in the desk, and Charlie knows to reach out to you, Mike, if anything happens. I go, well, that's good. But does Mary and Bob know what Charlie needs to know to get everything done? So it kind of breaks down, and there's where really the lack of communication, where that family meeting, and I call it a family meeting, it can be the meeting with all the key stakeholders and family. That's why it's important that you communicate it. And how do you go about doing that? You have to go through an exercise with your clients and say, this is why it's important. And those who get it are ones who have experienced what I just said earlier, the family breakup, and all the pressure that was put on one of the family members to make sure everything got taken care of.
Erika, the Community Foundation is often at meetings like that?
Sometimes, if there's charitable giving or philanthropy involved, and we can be helpful to, again, like creating that vehicle, that pathway for families to have this, we'll say, to gain that trust, to gain that relationship together around something fun and safe. And that's the charitable giving piece. So then they can have these harder conversations that may be around money and other assets and other family conversations. You know, philanthropy can be that bridge. Philanthropy can be that glue. So we often are there in that respect.
And Michael, did you have something you wanted to add?
Yeah, one of the exercises that I'm starting to take some of the clients who are very interested in doing that is a book that I could give them. It's called Share Your Love. It's a great guide that's put out by an insurance company. But in here they talk about the ethical will. And it really gets everyone to think about, first of all, the person who wants to give, but then how they can communicate it. And I'm just going to read a couple of the questions that it asks in the ethical will. The questions like, the most important things in life are. And this goes back to what Erika said earlier. You know, what was it, 9 in 10 people don't even know who their great-grandparents are? Well, if you had something like this, if you knew what was important in my life, hopefully my great-grandkids will say that my daughter will pass it down to them. But I am most grateful for is another question. The most important things I've done in my life are. I like my heirs to use their inheritance too. I mean, those are all kinds of things that kind of lead exactly what we were talking about here about helping the community. But again, if it's spelled out and then properly communicated to those key stakeholders and family members, I think it'll go a long, long way to expanding and creating a legacy that's more meaningful and gets fulfilled.
So Erika, do you work with many advisors like Mike, financial advisors? Do they bring people who are looking to get help with that?
Yeah, oftentimes the individuals, of course, families are having these conversations already. They have financial advisors, they have tax accountants, they have an estate planning attorney. So it is through those types of relationships we're often invited into the conversation, because there is, again, that piece related to charitable giving. And we can be a solution for a family who really does want to focus on that fun piece, that doesn't necessarily want a private foundation, a separate entity to have to manage for generations and generations.
Right.
We do that. And so we just support, again, like that glue, that legacy of the philanthropy.
And those foundations, if my wife and I were to form one, there's a lot, tax, legal, all types of other
sure,
ramifications, all things that the foundation takes care of.
Exactly. Yeah. We often also see private foundations where the family just doesn't want to continue to manage it anymore. And so they choose to close the entity and transfer funds actually under our umbrella for continued management. That's certainly an option and can happen when, like Mike said, if heirs aren't prepared for some of the responsibilities.
The foundation does a lot of great things. What are one or two or three of the things that you're most proud of what the foundation does?
That's a good question. There's a lot. We have
sure
an
there
amazing staff that does so much in our
Well, we have all
community.
day here, so
Yeah.
we can just go.
Last year, we just finished our fiscal year. We distributed almost $8 million into the community, which I think is really fantastic. One of our major initiatives is trying to solve the child care crisis that's happening in our community so that families can go to work and have some economic mobility and have a safe place for their child to be. So that's something I'm really proud of, that we have a seat at the table to be involved in that issue.
Michael, Client First Foundation does a lot of good. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I started that about 10 years ago, 12 years ago now. It's 12 years ago. And the reason I did that was simply because part of our philosophy is, and how we got our name is, we always try to put our clients first, our families first, our community first. So in our industry, we are not really allowed to give individual clients any type of gifts of any kind. So I figured, what if we started the foundation and I asked my clients, who should I give? Who's important to you? We had a lot of success with that. And then over time, as I kept building the foundation, and actually I got this help from Erika, I was giving to a lot of different causes. And she said, look, if you really want to make an impact, you should find one that really means a lot to you. So about 5 or 6, I'm probably closer to 7 years now, I decided that I want to help those in need. And that's been very satisfying, giving back to the community through the foundation. But I also have put some of my time in that. I sit on 2 nonprofit boards right now. As a matter of fact, I'm the president of the board of one. And that really has opened my eyes as to the impact that I'm having, both financially and through, sweat equity, I guess you could call it, to see how these things really operate and all the good that they do. It's very satisfying.
I tell people we've done a separate podcast on your personal approach to philanthropy, and I just want to say, as a friend, but someone who's outside of it looking in, you do actually practice what you preach to folks. So I want to thank you and congratulate
Thanks,
you
Bill.
for that.
Yeah, it means a lot to me.
Where does the personal satisfaction come from being philanthropic and from helping people through this legacy planning?
Well, again, I've been very fortunate in my practice over the years. I've done very, very well. So, I guess it's my philosophy is I'd rather help others than have a lot of material things. And look, I don't deprive myself of anything, but I really do get a lot of pride about giving back. And it's really wild. It's really wild. And you know what? I'm one of these people who wants to build a legacy, so I'm going to practice what I preach, and I'm trying to even pass that off to my daughter so that she can see, hey, look, my dad always told me to, give to this or get involved in that. So I'm trying to show people how to do it, as well as telling them, well, I really don't tell them, but say, you should probably consider doing this too.
And we're going to come back to it, but recently we co-authored a blog.
Yeah.
It featured some of your daughter Nicole's thoughts on what you taught her. So there were some pretty good ones there.
Yeah.
We didn't put them all in because some of them weren't fit for publishing. But anyway, what are some of the things you're most proud about in what you do at the foundation, with the foundation?
Well, in addition to kind of what we had talked about before with some of our early childhood work, we have I mentioned these individual vehicles. We have over 300 of them now, and I love having these conversations with people like Mike and Client First about their goals and what they're hoping to do in the community and how we can support that. And that to me is some of the most interesting conversations I have. It's just so many different types of people that truly just love where they live and where they're working, and they want to give back to the Lehigh Valley, and we can help them with that.
And it is a great, I mean, I don't live in the valley anymore, haven't for some time now, but it always was a personal point of satisfaction to help people in the communities in which we live and work
Yeah.
and to impact their lives. So let's talk about that blog quick. Do you remember any of the things she said?
So Bill and I were thinking about this blog, and we wanted to get my daughter involved. And he goes, well, what is she really proud of that you have taught her? And I go, I don't know. So we did what we always have done. We said, well, why don't we just ask her? So we asked her, and she goes, oh, I'll be easy. Like Penn State, save money, have a sense of humor. And I'm trying to think, it was
Work hard.
Work hard. And there was a fifth one, and I'm trying to remember it, Bill, but I know those are those first four. Yeah, and I looked at it and went, wow, that was pretty wild. So it's funny, I think that's an exercise that parents should use on their children. It's like, what are you proud of? What have I taught you? And just kind of get a sense of like, wow. And it may also help you maybe change some of the things that you're doing to make them understand even more of what you're trying to do.
I think the fifth one was don't be satisfied.
Don't be satisfied, right?
Keep climbing,
Yeah,
not
yeah.
camping. Yeah, they were some great sentiments. All made him very proud, but only one
Yeah.
made him ecstatic. Go Nittany Lion.
Yeah.
So we're going to wrap this up in a few minutes. So Erika, what else should we know about the foundation? What else would you like to share? Anything?
Just that we're here. We're here to help advisors, like Mike, who's working with clients. We're here to help those donors who want to give back to the community. And we're here to help nonprofits and support them in the work in any way we can. We're focused here in our region. We have an expertise for Lehigh and Northampton counties, and we really just want to support this place-based giving. That's what we're here for. We've been here for over 50 years. We are here as an endowment. We are those forever dollars. So we're going to continue to be here.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
And you've only recently stepped into the CEO.
Well, it'll be almost 4 years.
Really?
Almost. I
Okay,
know.
I'm sorry. I
know.
thought
It's
it was
hard
just-
to
I know,
imagine.
right.
But yeah, January of 2021.
Well, then you've got a long time to go to help shepherd
I hope
that
so.
organization
Yeah.
and those funds.
Yeah, I love what I do, and there's a new story, a new adventure every day, and we get to meet wonderful people like Mike and yourself and have these conversations. So I hope there is a long runway.
I look forward to having more of this. Michael, last thoughts? Anything we didn't cover that you wanted to talk about?
Well, I just think the role of planning is going to change dramatically going forward. You keep reading and hearing about the baby boom generation's going to pass trillions and trillions and gazillions of dollars. It's like, okay, so I think baby boomers have an obligation to kind of make sure that those dollars get used wisely and don't just give them away hoping that they will be used the way you want. So I really do see legacy planning as becoming more and more an integral part because, like I said earlier, you don't have to be wealthy or affluent to have a legacy. So that's how I'm thinking right now, Bill.
Well, I want to thank both of you. Erika Petrozelli, CEO of the Lehigh Valley Community Foundation. I'm sure we'll have contact information flashing up at the end of this podcast. And Michael J. Fisher, President and CEO of Client First Financial, two powerful forces in the Lehigh Valley and beyond that seek to benefit people through helping to curate legacies and foster philanthropy. I'm Bill Rambo, one of the founding partners of What's Next for Financial Advisors. Also want to thank the great folks at ASR Studios for hosting us here today. Have a wonderful day. We hope to see you again soon.